Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the guided notebook with your textbook. Okay, so for example, here, if we take a look at section 1.8, section 1.8 is absolute value equations and inequalities. And over here on the right, you're going to see the guided notebook 1.8 absolute value equations and inequalities. So what you would do when you're taking guided notes using the textbook, okay, you're going to read through the pages. So for example, here is some terminology at the beginning here, right? And so you're seeing the things that they're going to be discussed in section 1.8. If I move to the next page, okay, then there's some more information that's discussed, and then it comes down here, and then you're going to see this chart. And here it says absolute value equation or inequality, and then you have the cases, and then it says equivalent form, and then you're going to fill in the equivalent form here on your guided notebook. Okay, and you can see what the graph of the solution set is, and there's your graph. You're going to go ahead and graph those, and then you're going to put in the solution set. And then down below, you're going to see that the equivalent form of the absolute value of A equals the absolute value of B is, and then there is that information. So everything is located in your textbook. Okay, and then when you come down here, it's going to say, okay, now you want to do this example, which is example number 1. It says solving an absolute value equations, case 1, and the special case absolute value of A equals the absolute value of B. And you can see there's the first example, which is A, which is the same example here. It says the absolute value of 5 minus 3x equals 12. And then there's the second example, B, the absolute value of 4x minus 3 equals the absolute value of x plus 6. So what you want to do is, you see this little icon here? If you want to watch how the example is done rather than reading through the example, you can go ahead and click on that. And so when you click on that, okay, you're going to press play for this particular video. So let me go ahead and minimize this just a little bit. Okay, so we can play the video. So if you play the video, you're going to see the instructor. Okay, and it's going to start with that particular example, and then the instructor is going to go through that particular example. Okay, and then you would go ahead and then either use the video or the book to be able to then do that example. Okay, so then after you go through example number 1, then you're going to scroll down again to the guided notebook, and you see example 2, and if you go to the next page down below, you're going to have example number 2, and it's saying solve absolute value inequalities, case 2 and 3. And then there is your examples. It's written examples here, and then there's a video. Now there's two other options here. Okay, one of them is that you can try an example. And so if you click on that to try an example, what that does is that just gives you an example of what it would look like in your particular MyMathLab. So they give you an example here, and there's the example. You have solve the inequality, and then you go from there. Okay, and so that's a you try. Now that's just an example that you can go ahead through, and then you have your options to help me solve and a view example. This isn't for credit. This is just to try an example of that particular question. Okay, and then the other option here is that it gives you a, if you take a look at the video here, okay, so here's another example. Okay, so again, there's interactive particular icons that can help you through each particular example. But as I stated before, okay, if you wanted to then use the guided notebook, you can see that each example is going to have a video. Let's go down to example number 3. Okay, so we're going to go to the next page for example number 3. Okay, there's example number 3. You can see what the example looks like. There is the example if you want to click on the video. So this is how you're going to be able to fill in your guided notebook by using these particular video instructions or in your textbook. So you need to have your textbook and your guided notebook. So my recommendation is have the textbook open, and then you can have this printed out to be able to fill in your guided notes.